Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's chat room. My name is Barry Ilunga, and I'm your host for tonight. We're excited to have you here tonight, and please do let us know where you're watching from by sharing your name with us, and just your location as well. And be sure to interact with us as we go on to this exciting journey tonight through the comment section. All right, so without further ado, tonight we have a very interesting conversation coming up. And basically, we are following up from where we left off last week when we hosted the president of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Mr. Kasonde Mwenda, who will be with us tonight as we get to deliberate on the role of youth in governance, as well as get to look at Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's legacy. So briefly, I'll be having Mr. Kasonde Mwenda come through, and I'm really looking forward to interacting and getting to learn from him tonight and to hear what he has to say for Zambia. Mr. Mwenda, welcome to the chat room.
Thank you. Good evening, Barry. It's always a pleasure watching this program. I'm happy today that I've finally successfully joined in.
Amazing. We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you, and we're really looking forward to interacting with you tonight. So grateful. Just first things first, we're really grateful you made the time to be here. Today. We know you have quite a taxing schedule, and just for you to be here today really already is a great reminder of your commitment to empowering Zambia's youths. So tonight we are going to be talking about youth participation in governance, what this looks like as well. I'm just going to be looking briefly at the legacy of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. So, I personally have a lot of questions to ask. There's a lot of things that we have to discuss, and also looking into our audience, I'm sure they have a lot that they would like to learn from you tonight. So we'll just get the ball rolling, and just to get things started, really, Zambia this past week celebrated Kenneth Kaunda Day for the very first time. And at first and I know I'm not the only one here, I was a bit stuck because it was hard to know what to do on Dr. Kenneth Kaunda Day. We don't really know what to do with the holiday just yet. But just to jumpstart things, I'd like to learn from you. How did you spend your Dr. Kenneth Kaunda Day as Mr. Kasonde Mwenda?
It found me at home, so I spent most of the day just with family. I've got little kids and I've got my wife, so I just spent time with my family. Because last week I had a series of exams. I'm in school, so I'd been away from my family because I was doing mostly school. So that day found me on a day when I just finished my exams and I was resting and I was with family.
I see. All right, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Now, I know firsthand that you have authored the book on Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. In fact, you are the only person to have here in Zambia the authorized biography of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, and you've written a book, Ordinary Legend. And I'm guessing in this time you really got to interact in person with Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, got to hear his story, and also just got to hear his heart. So even as we, in the spirit of honoring, our founding father, I think we'd like to hear from you tonight. In memory of him, how your experience with Dr. Kaunda really has changed your perspective on life, and what do you have to say about this great man? Just in a few seconds, if you just share with us from your experience in getting to write his biography, what do you feel Dr. Kaunda's heart was for Zambia, and is Zambia on the right path now?
It was a privilege that I always cherish, having talked to Kaunda. To me, he's a grandfather. He's more than a father to me. And when I met him, I was expecting that he would go to speak a lot of things that are jargon, but he always humbled me with his simplicity. He was very down to earth. I remember the first thing he said when he met me is he laughed and he kept quiet for a while, and he talked about my teeth. Of all things. So he was one man that when you interact with him, you would be so expectant that you hear deep things. But now he will strike you as a person who's so down to earth, a person who has seen it all, but he accommodates and respects you just the way you are. So I feel there's so much that we can learn from Bakeke. He was a man who, um, despite all his accomplishments, his privileges, him having seen so many things that some of us only dream of. We have heard now leaders now who talk about things that they have seen as if they are theirs, but that man who was so accomplished, but he chose to humble himself.
Wow, amazing. I wish personally I would have had the opportunity to meet Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. I was he really did inspire me, and he really does inspire me in a great number of ways, really. But I would like to learn from you, in your interaction with him, what do you think, or what do you believe Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's dream was or is, for Zambia? What is that dream? I think a lot of Zambians would like to know what was the dream of the founding Zambia, or the founding father of Zambia. What hope did he have for Zambia? And also just for us to learn a bit, are we on the right path to actualizing that initial dream?
I think Bakaunda was one person who, when you interact with him, you would notice that he's one person who really wanted to empty himself. He did not want to go to rest with so much that he had in him, such that when he meets you, he will make sure he prays for you, he will bless you, he will treat you like you're the first person that you have met. Actually, if you don't know what he has done to others, you might think you are so special the way he would treat you. You would think there's just something until you meet others that have met him, and you are shocked that actually the same attention he gave you, he actually gives to almost everybody. And that's remarkable because some people have got favorites. Some people will judge you by the way you look, by the way your credentials, your titles. But he's a person who would take time to listen to you, and you would expect him to know so much, but he's one person that so much believes in people, because I think he has seen himself being one person who maybe others looked down at, but he accomplished much. And I think he has learned lessons that we cannot always judge people by what we see them. And I think he started his journey to be relevant to this country when he was young. So I think he has learned that the young people are the cornerstone of what the future can ever be. So he takes time, he takes effort, and makes sure that, and he made sure that when he met the young people, he poured his soul in. He could talk to me, he could sit and explain things. And I was shocked why he was taking all that trouble, because I just went to greet him, but he found time to pour his soul, even in people who were simple, people who did not have credentials, people who were ordinary.
Wow, that's really amazing. That really does speak a lot about Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, really, in his desire to to pass on the baton to the next generation. And I noticed you used the word ordinary people. He'd make time for ordinary people. Your book is entitled Ordinary Legend. Your biography of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda is entitled Ordinary Legend. What inspired that, really? And in addition to that, what should people expect when they read your book?
He struck me when I went to write his book. I was thinking, because I just finished writing the book about Michael Satame, so rest in peace. It was Passion Indelible. We had dwelt so much about his passion. Vasata was one person, for instance, who did not have a lot of privilege, like in terms of education, but he's the one person who pushed himself and delivered with his little abilities, but he used them to a way that very few people ever use their lives like that. So when I went to Siba Keke, I had already a picture, I'd read his books, and I had seen him as a person who was literally a living legend. And I was going in with expectation that I was going to write things that are deep. But after interaction with him, he showed me a human part of him, that he's a person with flesh and blood like us. He could feel pain. And if a person who is just like us can do so much like what he has done, then we don't need to be superhuman. The way we are is good enough if we can only have the opportunity to dig deep in our abilities. We can do great things without us becoming aliens, without us becoming superpowers. Yeah. So if somebody reads that book, they will see Bakaunda as a person who also had his personal challenges, and then they will see how he he made sure that the challenges that came his way, he capitalized on them. For instance, he was one person who, when he was fighting in that battle for delivering the independence that we enjoy even up to today, his family could lack. There could time when priests from the church would come and look after his family, help him with basic things like shelter. So it's not one person that went into this challenge to help liberate this country because he had so much resources, because he had figured it out, because everything was in place. No, no, no. He became a sacrifice for this country, even when he had more problems himself. He had not bought a jeep, he had not bought a house, he had not even had a farm by the time he started fighting for the good of this country. So he's one person who started fighting for others even before he could put it all together. Unlike what we see most times, that people only will tell you, no, you can only help one person. After you are full. As human beings, we will never be full, we will never have enough. So we need to be relevant to ourselves and to our neighbor, even in our needy times. Because who knows, maybe where we lack, that's where our friend has some. Or some of us, maybe in our destitution, we are actually better placed than some other people who do not even have the little that we have. So I learned from him to be one person who was content. He did not look at all he had, but gave even that which he didn't have.
Wow, amazing, amazing insights there. And once again, to our friends who are following us on this live feed, we're glad you're here and we see you. Do keep interacting with us, and in that line we have someone who's come in studio and would like to interact with you briefly, Mr. Kasonde, and we'll be joined by a student from UNILAS, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, he has great dreams of one day aspiring for public office. And he thought of coming through tonight and interact with you. So I'll be bringing him in a couple of in a moment from now, and he'll get to talk to you about what he has to say. Hello, Mr. Dumisani Mwenda. Welcome to the chat room. How are you?
Thank you so much, Barry. How are you?
All good. So today we're joined by Mr. Kasonde Mwenda himself, the president of the E.F.F. And it's glad to have you in tonight to get an opportunity to interact with him, because the chat room is about really it's about building capacities and how can we learn from one another. So Mr. Kasonde is all ears tonight, and basically you can go ahead and ask your question and he'll be able to respond to you.
Thank you very much, Barry. Good evening, President Mwenda.
Good evening, Dumi. Good to see you. I heard you are coming and I was expecting you.
Good to see you too. Actually, last time when I featured, you didn't show up. Some time back, I featured and you were supposed to feature as well, but you couldn't really make it. So I missed you. It's good to see you now.
I'm all ears today. Thank you.
Yes, so President Mwenda, we have been following what you have been doing, and I think allow me to say that we are proud of you. There's hope that indeed we as young, as youths can as well lead, because we have seen a situation where we as the youths are left behind in critical issues to do with governance, decision making. Our so-called leaders do leave us behind, and we only become relevant when they want to use us to push their political agendas. So it's very good that we have people like you who have to speak on our behalf and ensure that youths as well are given an opportunity to participate and their voices, be heard, because we as the youths, we are large in number, so to say, and our voices are heard usually when we speak, and we have this tendency of going to the streets when we have to air out a certain view, which is really good. And it's a sign to say youths now really have the eager and the drive to participate in national governance. So it's very good. We are proud of you and we're behind you. It's really good to see you. I've been following you for some time now, And I'm happy that I now have an opportunity to talk to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, and thanks for coming through, Dumi. Mr. Mwenda, if I can just touch a bit on the E.F.F. So you're the president of the Economic Freedom Fighters. When I first heard that, I thought of South Africa. And I'm guessing I'm not the only one, because we have a popular party in South Africa that goes by the name E.F.F. So I'd like to learn: is there any connection between your party and that particular E.F.F? What drew the inspiration for your name? Do you share similar beliefs, perhaps, or just directly connected to that party? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much, Barry. Economic Freedom Fighters has been a movement before you and me were born. There have been books that have been written about economic freedom fighters as a Pan-Africanist ideology. In the early days, it is from the economic freedom fighters where came out political parties like ANC ANC, which was also in Zambia, which through the process ended up even becoming UNIP, and we had our independence. So this desire to have economic freedom fighters has been a long-lived pursuit, not really as a political party, but as a desire for Africans to have a united Africa that can work together and overcome its challenges. So economic freedom fighting is an agenda that is beyond political parties. But now we are living in a dispensation where the form of leadership that we have to preside over political matters are political parties. We saw our friends in South Africa take the first cut. They make economic freedom fighters as a political party that is premised on Pan-Africanism, which means Africa together, united, beyond borders, where we see each other as one, so that we are helping and building one another. My son has just moved in. Oh, come. I thought I'd locked myself sufficiently. Nonetheless, so what has happened to us is we got inspiration, quite all right, that instead of us pursuing economic freedom fighting just as an economic front, making companies, emancipating ourselves economically, but we cannot be fully economically emancipated if we do not have the power to control our political narrative, because politics extend to everything we do. They extend to economics, they extend to our culture. So there's no way we are going to have, come and take him. There was no way we are going to have development. Okay, leave him, Ukraine. There's no way we are going to have a political independence if we do not have economic emancipation. So it is from that premise that we also realized that it's time that we started having a wake-up call on all Africa. It's not just us here in Zambia. There's E.F.F in Malawi, there's E.F.F in Namibia, there's E.F.F in Uganda, there's E.F.F in Zimbabwe. Actually, Zimbabwe is visiting us next month, E.F.F Zimbabwe. So we are working together to unite Africa. The other day, I received an invitation from E.F.F Swaziland. There's also E.F.F Lesotho. So we are working towards uniting Africa, especially as a youth, before we take on the reins of power. Because once you form government, it's already complicated. But if you become friends, you share ideologies of developing Africa together, then the future is bright. So that's what we are working on. And this economic freedom fighter really wants to to join us. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him. It seems he wants to say hi,
Say hello. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it sounds to me like the E.F.F is a network, and it's a network across Africa. It's not just the Zambian party, but it's an idea that's shared by multiple places in Africa. Is this something Zambians should be concerned about? Is this safe for Zambians to have a network that extends beyond Zambia? Should Zambians be afraid of foreign agendas coming into play here? We always talk about being independent in our ideology, in our thinking, and whatnot. So is your move to network across the continent and is it something that Zambians should particularly be concerned about? Could it have any negative feedback, in other words?
Actually, what happens now is that Zambia, we're a sovereign state. We have got our independence, and we respect the sovereignty of other countries as well. So we are economic freedom fighters premised on the ideology that was founded by our forefathers, not what was founded by South Africa. South Africa also belongs to economic freedom fighting movement. So the bigger picture is the movement that our forefathers, Kaunda and others, who fought for political independence. You cannot have political independence if you do not have economic independence. You can't have the freedom to speak for your rights if you haven't eaten. If the one that feeds you, the one that gives you your donor funder says this, that's what passes. So economic freedom fighters is not alien. And our approach, for instance, here in Zambia is different from South Africa. South Africa have got more of an approach that is a bit socialist and that is nationalistic. Us here, we have looked at the kind of challenges we have in Zambia, and we have known that for us to overcome these challenges, we need a mixed economy, the one that is not premised entirely on nationalization of the government taking over enterprises. That's not what we believe in. We believe in a mixed economy, the one that strikes a balance between what the government does for the common good and that which the private sector does to foster development. So we are a blend, because we know in these current times we cannot afford to be naive, be extremist, but we have to be people that are rational and that come up with solutions that are tailored to the kind of problems that we have in Zambia. What we have in Zambia is the potential. It is not an enemy of a class of some people presiding over our resources like what our friends have in South Africa, where most of the land is held by what they believe should not be the rightful heirs of that land. What we have here in Zambia is underutilization of our resources. We are lacking on that, and that's where we want to go in. And even our ideologies are not borrowed from South Africa. No, they are different. As we are a center party, we are a center-leaning party. Them, they are a left-leaning party. So even as much as we agree on the United Africa, we united on economic freedom fighters, it doesn't mean we use one formula to solve the problems that they have in South Africa, the same formula for the problem that they have in Malawi. No. Each party is allowed the freedom to form. No wonder the symbols are not the same. Us is not a spear. It is our feet, meaning our feet shall take us there. Our friends have got a spear. So depending on how you interpret your vision, you put your symbol. Oh, by the way, Uganda has also gotten our feet. They've got green feet. They have gotten after us. So we are also actually influencing the narrative on how our friends are going about this.
Oh, amazing. Dumisani, I saw you, making gestures while Mr. Kasonde was speaking. Do you have something to say based on what he said?
I love the saying that our feet shall indeed take us there, and indeed, we as the youths, wherever we want to go, our feet shall definitely take us there.
Indeed.
Yes.
Amazing. Mr. Mwenda, you're talking about youths and our feet shall take us there. One thing I've noticed personally about your party is we have, I've seen several number of youths engaging with your party, on an MP level, in terms of your structure, and also to knowing that you are a youthful personnel yourself. I want to ask, should people think of E.F.F as a youth party? Is that a safe narrative? What does the structure look like in terms of the work that you're doing? Do you have more youthful people in your party, or is it just a general kind of spread out arrangement?
Wow, if somebody was to look, for instance, at the kind of papers we filed at the Registrar of Societies when we are registering this political party, you will find that actually this political party was founded by myself and some elderly people. Some of them especially come from Bauleni. They come from the Combon. Most of our people that formed this political party, some are old women, some are middle-aged. It's really interesting. So what happens is, when you're going to war, the people that plan the war are war veterans. They are those people that are experienced, that have been there. But it's not the old people that fight in any battle. it is the youth. Us, we are economic freedom fighters. I do not expect a very old man to be taken to the battlefront, to be working in a factory from 06 to 22 hours, the way we work. I expect those to be people that are strategists, that give counsel, that give wisdom to us to work. We wouldn't have even reached this far, it was entirely on us, the youth. We are not ashamed to be looked at as a youthful party. No, we are not ashamed because we have even a youthful president anyway. So to have a semblance of being youthful, we are proud of that. And we are welcoming the youth so that they can also have something of their own. We can assure them, even as much as we would want to balance power across all age factors, we believe the youth's time is now. We are ready to perfect our art because, especially in this generation, we have youths that are very well equipped. People still have a wrong picture of youth being those people that are still underqualified, that don't know what they want. But this time around, we are youths that our parents poured in a lot. They gave us education. Just looking at you guys, you look smart, you look educated. A lot, I can see your qualification. So I don't think we should deprive you an opportunity to be leaders just because the digit on your age is not big. No, we'll look at the caliber of your mind. We'll look at your character. We'll look at your passion and your desire to save this country. And when we see you have got a maturity that is requisite, we are the ones keeping our parents. So if we can keep our parents in our homes, what can make us fail to keep this country? Nothing impossible. So we could be a youthful party, but we are not entirely all youths. We have got people that are old, but we are happy to be viewed as a youthful party.
Interesting. That's amazing. One thing that you said, you're welcoming all youths and basically the need for youth to take up leadership because, you believe youths are competent today and they're ready to do that. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about how can we get more youths participating in governance. And, this past Youth Day, the theme was, getting youth to participate at all levels of national governance, really. And the government's coming in, we want more youth to participate because by greatly, Zambia is a youthful population. Now, I would like to learn from you and from your experience, how ready is Zambia in terms of its policies, in terms of its structure, to receive youth to participate in its administration, or rather in its governance? Is it just something we're speaking for, let's get used to participate in governance, or is the system also beginning to adjust? Is it also beginning to become more conducive to support youth to participate? What's the current landscape in Zambia in terms of youth participation in governance?
Thank you. One of the best ways in which this world will know that the youth are ready is when the youth get up and demand for that power. Even the Bible says, ask, you be given. We should not be naive as the youth that those who are holding on to power will just get tired and start looking for the youth to come and take. Leadership is serious business. And if we are equal to the task, we should stand up and be counted. No one will look for us. We'll also just pass through time. We'll have people exchanging the baton and the baton not reaching us. We'll have a few privileged people who will pass on power to those people that they are comfortable with, maybe because they eat together or maybe because they are their relatives. But we need to have a country where if power can come to us, it is power that we worked hard for, that we stood up to be counted, because there's no way people should give us power just because we are young. No. Power is serious. And for people to give us power, we should show maturity. We should show that we are capable. We should fight for it. We should go for it. That's why if we believe in something, at least, me, I'm a married man. And I married a woman that ordinarily wouldn't accept to be married to me when I was then, because I didn't have much anyway. But I proved myself. I said, I'm the best guy. I went for her. Until now, we've got 4 kids. So it's not easy to be given opportunity. So as a youth, I can tell all the youth that are listening here, this country is ripe to give power to the youth, but it won't come and knock at your door. You need to go out and receive the power. Power is gotten. It is not gotten. If there's anything that you get on your feet, it's power. You don't need kneel down for power. No. Power, you stand up. and show yourself strong. Abena Kaunda, they moved from Chinsali. You know what Chinsali is? It's now Muchinga. They moved, they're even walking. Abena Johnson, they were even walking on foot. They came to Lusaka and they said, we want independence. At first, the white people were laughing and saying, what? You people didn't even know how to read properly. We said, yes, we know how to read. Where we don't know, we'll learn. Then they said, okay, we'll give you independence. They gave them independence. Not like it did not happen like the colonial masters got tired and started looking for which Zambians can take over. If they didn't stand up those people, even now, the British would be presiding over this country. So I can tell the youth, if we want to be counted, we work very hard. This generation, we are sharp. We are very hardworking. 99 jobs. This is not what was happening to our parents. Not that I've got anything against my parents, because they're the one that raised me and made me who I am, and I'm thankful. But they were raised in an environment that has changed. Our parents cannot solve the problems we are facing now. They can't. That's why, not that we hate the likes of Bamutati, we hate the likes of Bastumbeko. We don't hate those people. But I can assure you from my personal experiences, and if I'm wrong, I'm ready to be corrected. Those people, the time they were finishing high school, for instance, they were finding jobs waiting for them. They were choosing. I remember my father had to choose between being a teacher or being a doctor, and there was a scholarship. He chose to be a teacher because he wanted to settle down quickly and start looking after his siblings. So, but that's not what happened. Look, me, I finished my grade 12. I finished my university. Man, I didn't find no job. I went, did my master's, didn't find no job. I had to go and study a master's in another field, didn't find no job. I went back to school again. Up to now, the only job that I have that I so much love is to be E.F.F president and being a farmer. Those are the things that I've found, not anything in my area of profession. I've ended up even studying law, we ended up studying architecture, all those things. So we are in a dispensation where the problems we have are well understood by us. We need to find solutions for this time. We can't be allowing people that were born in 19 Kondo to come and find solutions for us here. No. It's our time for us to find our own solutions. They also had the chance. They also had the time to find their own solutions in their own time. Not that we have anything against them, but if they have to go to a table to find solutions for our problems in this digital world, then we have to be involved. We need to have an input. So that's why I'm saying we need to have the youth standing up and being counted, because if a youth stands up and, like for me, I'm not ashamed that I did not do too well in the previous election. I'm not ashamed, because I've not proved myself strong enough to the youth. I know they haven't believed me yet. I'll keep knocking. I'll keep knocking till they know that this colleague is one of us and he can deliver. So even if they give me 0, I'm not quitting until a time when they are convinced, because I know I can compete with some of these madalas and I can beat them straight, because I have the passion for this and this is my life. Whether I lose or I win, this is my life. So the same to those youths who are intending to participate in politics, this is a serious lifestyle. We need to stand up, fight, and be counted and help our people. We shouldn't be proud. I'm good, but unless they come and knock, no one's going to knock at your door. You get up and shake this country.
Wow, amazing insights there. And we were having some questions coming through tonight, and one question in particular that I saw that I'd like for you to respond to right after this. All right, and we're back. So we have a question here from Precious Chama, and she wants to learn what strategies there are to make these ideas reach the youth in rural areas. And I'm guessing the question is coming from the fact that today, when we see change, it's only in the urban areas where this change is being prioritized, where the message is being spread. And she'd like to learn from you, I suppose, what impact or what strategies are you implying to ensure your message of a youth rising up, and participating in governance, which is people and youth in rural areas as well.
The problems that this country has are not problems that you can simply wish they disappeared. They are problems that need a timeline not less than 10 years. We need to have long-term plans. And these long-term plans, you can only make them when you have time. And the only people, unfortunately, that have got time are the youth. You and me, we have got time. Meaning, today we can plant a tree and expect to eat from it. Those are the kind of solutions this country needs. We need to say, okay, how much rainfall do we have distribution in this country? We have got good rainfall distribution in Kawambwa. Kawambwa has got rainfall equal to the DR Congo. There where if you plant a pine tree in Kawambwa and you plant another pine tree in Kitwe for a pine tree to mature, it will take something like 8 to 11 years. In Kawambwa, that pine tree will mature within 5 years. How many people are willing to plant trees? It is those people that have got time. So the solutions that we need in this country are solutions that require us time, to invest in time. And we need not to rush to see the fruits. Most of these things that we are seeing politicians do, to me, I see no wonder they call them fix. Yes, it's fixing. But what we need is healing. We need solutions to our problems, and problems require us to have real solutions. For instance, you ask me, how do we solve these problems in the rural areas? Number one, if you don't fix your agriculture, you're wasting time. And agriculture, tekuli mashamba vegetables, makula chabe chibwabwa, kalembula, nshaba, and maize. No, let's look at our real needs. Not long ago, we saw a contract happen in this country where we needed over 10,000 ZESCO pole lines. We did not have them here in Zambia. We had to source out. So now tell me, if there were people, 3 people, that were living in Namshakendi, or let me find something that's common, that were living in Malole, that's in northern province, 2 people, you can plant those trees. And if those trees were ready, those people would have made in excess of almost 10 million. Now imagine a rural person who plants trees. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are the one who has got the trees that this country needs, money will follow you. So when you have got solutions, it doesn't segregate whether you are in the rural or you are the urban. So what is important is for us to have strategies that people should involve in, that they will not be disadvantaged by virtue of where they stay. And if you're the one with a solution, money will follow you. So let's now start going in and say, okay, what can people, for instance, in Ikerenge, people in Mwinilunga, how can we empower them? Let's empower them with what they're already good at. Let's help them grow their pineapples. Let's create market. Let's create factories. When we start thinking like that, my brothers, that's when now we are developing. All these things we are doing right now, it's drama. We are playing, we are wasting time. Unfortunately, it's politics. We got to do some of these things to stay alive. But the real solutions is when we start with looking at the potential that people have, investing in the potential that they have, growing their potential, and this takes time. So we need to look at people where they are. I lived in Copper Belt for more than 10 years. There in Copper Belt, anywhere where you're standing, even in Rwansha, even in Masaiti, even in Rufuanyama, even in anywhere you are in there, whether you like it or not, you are standing on copper. And for us to be true beneficiaries of copper, we need to have small-scale miners. Right now in this country, we do not even have a small-scale miners framework. We don't have a legal framework. We don't even have a policy that really empowers them. So when we start looking at how can we empower these people, depending on the resources that they have, where they are, I don't think we would even be able to call some places rural areas, because those places will quickly develop. And like where we say, no, let's build infrastructure in town so that people can come in town and now invest in those infrastructure. No. Let development follow people, not people following development. No wonder we are overly urbanized, because even me, I did my secondary school in Mongwe. That's Mongwe Technical in the northern province. I ended up here in Lusaka because that's where I could do my job as an architect. There was nothing I could do there. But if those opportunities could follow me there, we would develop those places, and those people will have a lot to do. So now as leaders, the job that our leadership should have is look at every place. Look at Kazungula. Kazungula, there's not much rain there. But if you go to Kazungula and you see how many goats will cross your road if you're driving fast, You find that by the time you reach Kazungura Boma, you would have hit 4 goats on the road. That's how goats really flourish there. But tell me, if a person who is in Kazungura is helped with seed money and they are trained on how to keep goats, their goats will multiply because goats can eat even if paper are paper. They will eat even tree barks if the grass is not there. They are resilient to diseases. They are resilient to water shortages. So if we have a system that starts with agriculture, coupled with education, then we have a country.
Mr. Mwenda, you talked about several number of things, and I get that you have a passion for farming, and you talked about how we could actualize some of the potential that we have here in Zambia in regards to the youth, and that had me thinking. When we speak of youth today and them participating in governance, one of the challenges that is there is obviously the issue of finance. And obviously, if we were to see more youth stepping up and participating in governance, we need to find a way for youth to become financially stable. That is to say, now government already, like ECZ, has already put in some policies. If you want to stand on a position, if you're a youth, you get a discount on that. And some of those things. So there are already some policies in place that are leaving room for the youth. I'd like to learn from you. Do you think Zambian youth right now are taking advantage of these policies, or do you also think these policies are sufficient to actually accommodate youths, or are they just a hoax for sure?
That's an intelligent, Mr. Dumisan. What do you think? You've been quiet for long.
I didn't really get the entire question, but I think I heard a bit of it, being that how of these policies that have been formulated. Well, looking at the unemployment levels in our country, only a few youths are privileged to be economically and financially stable. So not really all of them will take advantage of such policies. That's if I got your question right.
No, thank you. I'm struggling to hear Mr. Dumisani, but I've gotten what he's saying. If you put opportunities at a height where only those who are tall can pick them, only those who are tall pick them. Yes, there are some opportunities. For instance, Barry brought a very good example to say when you lower the nomination fee for elections, that is a good opportunity. But before you even get to the nomination fee, there are so many other challenges because you won't go to campaign to stand for an elective office when you don't even have a job. So even as there could be such an opportunity, it cannot exist in isolation. You can only be fully incapacitated when you're in an environment that allows you to be relevant. For instance, you can open up opportunity to say, no, we are creating jobs. You can only create jobs if the people that are available are able to meet the requirements for those jobs. You can have fish in the water, but if people don't have the tools to fish with, they can still die of hunger. So what we need to have is a holistic approach. We should create opportunities to people starting at their level where, how can I go and violin as an MP when I'm even struggling to even have money for talk time to put in bundles and feature on the chat room? How can I even go and stand as an MP when I do not even have enough money to even buy my fiancé Valentine? No Valentine gifts. You even be shocked. Say, you want to go and stand. I thought you are poor. On Valentine, we just took a walk. You see. So for us to be able to fully participate in national governance, we need an environment that allows us to be enterprising. You should be able to be financially equipped for you to participate, because even after you pay that nomination, you need to campaign, you need to move from point A to point B. So you need to be in an environment that allows you to be earning money. No wonder politics has been a preserve of people that are elderly, because those have already made their money. Some of us, for us to fully participate in politics, we need to make a lot of sacrifices, because the money that I'm supposed to be using to build a house, I take it into a campaign and I watch my friends building mansions. So, but my friends who are elderly probably would have already built their houses, they have bought their cars. So they can afford now to sit down and say, what can we do now? We don't have much to do. Let's do politics. But we need to have an environment that allows us to be able to be working, make money for our families, make money for our dreams, and our life should not pause because we're in politics. Our lives should still be going on well, even when we're in politics. And that can only happen when we have got an environment that allows us to do that. Right now, that's not the kind of environment we have.
Wow, so you say right now that's not the kind of environment we have, and a lot of things that you talk about you talk about economic emancipation a lot, and when I hear that, it sounds like something I also hear with our current regime, with our current government. The UPND is strong on economic, on empowering people economically. They've come up with the CDF, youth empowerment, women empowerment. They're coming up with agendas to decentralize government, and all those kind of things. Would you say this is a shared dream that you have with the UPND, or are these totally different ideologies? Or in other words, is our current government doing a bit of what you say you want to do, or is it a different picture altogether?
I know development is a big mountain, and there are many ways to climb it. I don't want to sound like we are the only ones who have got solutions. But where we see others are speaking of something and doing otherwise, we have got the right to question. This government has got very good ideas. What I see is difficult for them is to be honest and follow through. For instance, how can you say you are developing agriculture when you increase CDF, but you make the price of fertilizer 1,000 kwacha? That's the price of a 50 kg bag. And when you're growing even maize, if you are going to grow maize for at least an acre, you will need at least 5 bags of fertilizer. Now, that's 5,000 to grow maize. That when you come and sell, the maximum you can realize from there is 7,000. So it's like you are wasting time. So you cannot continue. For instance, you let fuel run amok. Right now, I'm a farmer. At 24 per liter, if you are using a pump that uses petrol or diesel, right now you are wasting your time, because the money that you make will all go back to buying fuel. So if people are saying they are increasing CDF, they are increasing this allocation, but now they are letting the economy run amok. They are still engaging themselves in corruption, like what this government did when they just got into power. They presided over a very fraudulent deal. The fertilizer they bought to a tune of 51 million, they single sourced and gave their friend. I've reported them to SEC. Now they have been intimidating SEC. I challenge them. I'm not fabricating. These are things, if they want, they even know my house. These are things I've put to their friend and say, but you people, you have got good ideas, but how can you be the same people against stealing? And unfortunately, with all due respect, that meeting that did that tender that was fraudulent was even presided over by President Hakainde Hichilema. But how can a president be involved in a shoddy deal? I have nothing wrong. I'm not an irrational person. But these are things that these people, if they really care about this country, they should be coming out straight and say, oh, I think we made the mistake. Not just pushing it under the carpet, they're enriching themselves. Once you set that precedence, now other people struggle to believe even when you're saying you're fighting corruption, because they have seen you steal yourself. I'm not speaking just as a politician, but also as a Zambian. We should be disciplined. And what I see in this government has got good agenda. They speak really well, but they lack the discipline. And that's where we need to have people who are serious in power. That is what has kept us not. Otherwise, if this government was doing fine, I would have even stopped politics. Said, these same ones they will do. I can't repeat this. But I see them lacking discipline. I see them just talking. I see them doing politics, sugarcoating up about the same old type of. But I'm looking at real politics where we'll be genuinely sacrificing in what we do, not just to win public support, public sympathy. In some things, I can't lie, they are doing some things right. But generally, I see them lacking discipline. Unfortunately, starting from the main office of my big brother, who I don't think he's serious with what he's doing.
Wow, that is interesting. That is interesting insight. And I'm holding myself not to comment on that because we are actually running out of time. But even as we begin to wind down now, you shared quite a lot of things, starting from Dr. Kenneth Kaunda all the way to youth participation in governance, and what the ideologies of the E.F.F are. But I'd like to hear from you because you're vying for the office of president, and hopefully one day you might be president. What exactly is your dream as Mr. Kasonde Mwenda? What Zambia do you envision? Like, in very layman language, what is your dream? What is your hope for Zambia? What do you want to see once you actualize that dream of becoming the Republican president of Zambia?
Thank you. All things said and done, I want to have best in Zambians, the Zambia in themselves. I'm not really interested in just seeing a Zambia that people can say, wow, wow, wow. No. I want people to become Zambians. I want to start a fire in Zambia such that even when I'm gone, there will be patriots who will not sell this country for a morsel of bread. I look forward to Zambians that will be dying on the job, defending this country, working, reviving it. When I was a young boy, I walked from Copperbelt University, coming to Lusaka for 4 days, day and night, fighting for these bursaries. People are saying, a lion will eat him. Luckily, a lion did not eat me. I'm still alive to today. I hope to see a caliber of Zambians that will not put interests of foreigners from the West or from China or from the US above the interest of Zambians. I will look forward to Zambians who will not just be talking, but Zambians that will turn around the fortunes of this country. It's unfair. This country has been blessed by God. We are the most watered country in the world, second only from Congo. We have got minerals that are unparalleled, but this has been a story and it continues being a story. When I'm gone, above everything, I want my name not to be inscribed on some billboard. I pray that even if my name is forgotten, but my passion and desire for a Zambia that is beautiful, where I want to, the good news, give me some good news. Yesterday, my wife delivered our first daughter. So I'm a happy man. Last time I had my son, we had him at UTH. The boy almost died because there was no one to even help my wife deliver. Right now, as I'm talking, women at UTH are delivering children on the floor. Right now, they're delivering on the floor. Tonight, there will be so many people that will sleep hungry in this country. There are many who are qualified, educated, there are still no jobs. So I'm looking forward to a time when we have a Zambia where I would have turned around these desires we've had for a long time into reality. That's all I want. I want people to be able to live their full lives, not to have lived a changed life. So even if I'm not made the president, if I can, even through talking like what we're talking now, I can make enough impact that we see a Barry that will have a TV station bigger than the BBC. If I can see Dumisani have a consultancy where he will empower the youth and change a generation and have a united Africa, I would have done enough. So presidency is not my prima facie pursuit, but my prima facie pursuit is the hearts of Zambians, ignited with passion and patriotism, and together we make a Zambia. Now, Africa, we should be ashamed. These things I've read histories about how China was made. People just decided, let's make a country. And they made China. Now we got to borrow to China. I'm looking forward to a time when also Africa, who also have people that would have sat down and sat other people down together and say, guys, let's have a continent. Let's have Zambia. So my main pursuit, I'm just looking forward to helping us, especially this generation. Before I die, let's sit down and make sure we have a Zambia. That which will be a real Zambia. Not if the way people live in this country, they just chura. And this is not good.
Wow, some really heartfelt words coming through from Mr. Mwenda tonight. And congratulations to you and your family on your new family member. Happy for you, definitely happy for you. Mr. Dimisani Mwamba, you've been quiet for a while. But as we conclude, do you have any final remarks you want to make on the chat room tonight?
Thank you so much, Barry. It's been a very insightful chat. I have learned a lot from President Mwenda. You never cease to inspire me. Definitely following your footsteps and my footsteps, we shall definitely get there. All I can say is that I think we're on the right track as youths. On the right track, and Barry, keep doing. You're really doing a good job. Keep it up. Let's keep encouraging each other as youths to participate in issues to do with governance. Let's keep in each other. The more pressure we put, the more we'll definitely get what we want. We're eager, and we have youths that are really competent to, take part in governance, but we just don't have the, and the so as put it. But all in all, I think on the right track, and most definitely, if we keep on in this same spirit, we shall definitely get there. Thank you so much for engaging me. Hope to see you again, President Mwenda.
Thank you.
Wow, amazing. All right, so to our friends on the chat room and watching on Ambassadors pages, we're glad you made time to be here tonight, and I'm really hoping you have gotten to learn something. The chat room were vested in sharing ideas that we believe can change the world. And I should mention, Mr. Mwenda here has shared quite a number of ideas that have got the potential to change the world, but those ideas need action. They need you and I to stand up, to rise up. And as he says it, our feet shall take us there, one step at a time. Believing in ourselves and doing the best that we can do in every given moment. So, Mr. Mwenda, as we conclude, do you have any final remarks before we end the show tonight?
I should say thank you for according me this opportunity, and Barry and the team, you've been very patient with me, and you have guided me that today we should share. This is a spirit. We need to be helping one another. Sometimes we can differ in ideology. There are people that believe in this government. But beyond this government, there's Zambia. Let's unite. Let's work together. Us will help where we can. This that we want will not be given to us on a silver platter. We need to walk the talk. We need to stand up and be counted. And this will not be given to us. We need to stand up, believe in ourselves, have a hope that refuses to die. Because wherever I want to go, only our feet shall take us there.
Wow, amazing. All right. So grateful for having you tonight, Mr. Kasonde Mwenda. Hopefully we'll be seeing you again on the chat room, and all the best in your endeavors, even as you seek to make Zambia great. Do have a good night, and God bless you all.